Today I'm going to teach you folks about the admin features of Gravity, in particular the users, groups, and permissions. This is Gravity's functionality that protects your report from within and allows people to work in reports that they need to work on and not accidentally interfere with other people's work. To edit users, we're going to the gearbox in the top right, clicking on it, and then clicking on Users below. So here we can see the Add Gravity user. We have to add their email address, their login, first name, and last name. If we were done here, we could just click Create User. But since we might have to add another user, we could go to the bottom left and click on Create Another before clicking Create User to create multiple users after this one. Since we're not going to be working with this, we'll just cancel this and let's go to a user already created. Department, for instance. We can see here that we have department's login, their full name, their email address, the date created, and we also see that we can deactivate department. Deactivating the account will mean that they can't log into Gravity. Also means that they won't be able to access any of the reports. Once having deactivated them, you can very easily activate them again. The group functionality in Gravity is the way that Gravity speeds up your adding users to reports and giving them the permission to work in those reports. Otherwise, we'd have to do the cumbersome work of clicking on each individual user and assigning them their permissions. To get to the Groups tab, we first go to the Users menu like we did to get to Users, but on the left side, we will click on the Groups tab. But for practice, let's add a new group. Let's say you had a library team that needed to be added to your group. So it's pretty easy. Let's click on this new group and we type here the name, library project, and we could give it a comment if we want, but it's not necessary. Then we click add. So we see in the top right that the group has been added. So we have to go down, or you could type in library project. Currently, there are no users though. So to add users, we click on this drop-down menu. This drop-down menu will select only users already in Gravity. So let's pick IGM support. They're pretty important. Then you click the add member beside that. Then we're going to add the department. Select them, click add member. Then the department head, click add member. So it's pretty easy to add people to groups. But I think IGM support doesn't actually need to be here. We can just click that X and then they will disappear out of the group. And then we could go back and see that they're no longer in the group and we can add them back in. That's really it for groups. That's pretty easy. We're now going to go and talk about permissions. Permissions are the way that Gravity allows people, specific users or groups of users, to accomplish tasks in the report, such as adding objects, editing spreadsheets. And there are two types of permissions in Gravity: application level and report level. Application level permissions are permissions that will edit Gravity. So for instance, these are permissions that allow people into the settings of Gravity, will allow people to create new reports, will let them use Gravity's advanced functionalities. The application level will really only be for your admin users. Most of your people will be working in the report level. Let's look at iGlacier and see what type of permissions he has. All of these permissions will be explained in a supplementary document to this video. Here we're at the application level, but let's look at the report level permissions, where most of your users will be working. Let's select IGM support. Then we're going to go and move to the budgeting report. This will show us all the permissions that IGM support has in various reports. We can click between reports and see that the permissions change. Once again, all of these permissions will be covered in a different document. It's pretty easy to add and remove permissions. We can either click on individual boxes to add or remove permissions. We can click on an upper level box to add all permissions or remove all permissions. We can do the same in groups. Let's go to the library project, see what permissions they have at the application level. It looks like they don't have any permissions here at the application level. But let's go to the report level for the library project group. We see that they have no permissions enabled here at the report level. I'm going to give them all the object permissions and a couple other various permissions that they would need to work with. Now that we've added the permissions at the group level, looking at the individual user, we will see that all the users in that group have grayed out permissions. In this way, group permissions override individual permissions and can only be changed at the group level. Great job. We've covered everything that an admin needs to manage users, groups, and permissions.